Chapter 318 The Pure Bloodline of the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon. Even though they did not clash, Xingyan could clearly feel how sharp his opponent's blade was. His scales started to tremble slightly. An attack of that level should never be met head-on. He lifted his body with great effort, and his second soul ring started to shine. A pair of dragon wings expanded behind his back. They beat once and took him soaring into the air. At the same time, his fourth soul ring started to shine. The scales on his body immediately started to release a light that burned as hot as fire. Xingyan used his body in this attack. His Draconic Meteor, an extremely powerful attack and control-type soul skill. Draconic Meteor's offensive strength was extremely strong. When he activated it, it also tripled his defenses. The moment the attack hit the ground, it would cause a series of powerful chain explosions. With his current cultivation, the attack had a range of 30 meters. As his dragon wings beat, the Scarlet Dragon unleashed Draconic Meteor once again. This was his signature move. Coldly, Wu Yifan did not stop as he continued to drive his sword through the air. His feet touched the ground, and a pair of metallic wings opened behind his back. Light shone in all directions, and he left the ground. As he rose, he made a 90-degree turn. A green light shone on his green sword, and his fifth soul ring started to flash. A small but audible buzzing arose. The size of the huge green sword doubled, now about 4 meters long, as an eye-dazzling sword radiance shone forth. Wu Yifan's martial soul was the green steel sword. He was a rank 63 assault-type soul emperor. This was his fifth soul skill, divine green steel sword. It was a rare tall martial soul skill that increased the power of the martial soul itself. Like soul skills from beast martial souls, the expanded green steel sword doubled Wu Yifan's fighting abilities. Xingyan, who was using Draconic Meteor, instantly felt that something was amiss. He did not dare to crash down on the divine green steel sword. However, he had already unleashed his soul skill. It was too late to change direction. In terms of martial soul control, not everyone could compare with the freaks from Shrek Academy. However, Xingyan had his own plans. He continued to use Draconic Meteor, but he did not attack his opponent directly with it. Instead, he unleashed it downward, using the explosive speed of Draconic Meteor and his own incredible defenses as he tried to avoid being locked onto by the divine green steel sword. In midair, Xingyan stopped using Draconic Meteor. The red light faded, and he descended to the ground. The divine green steel sword, which was already in midair, did not give up so easily. It turned around and continued to pursue Xingyan. Do you think I'm scared of you? After this series of tactical humiliations, Xingyan felt ashamed and perplexed. He turned around and roared magnificently. The scales on his body all stood erect, making him look like a huge porcupine. The light around the sixth soul ring on his body started to shine even brighter. Just when everyone thought that he would use his most powerful soul skill to fight his opponent's divine green steel sword, cunning flashed across Xingyan's eyes. He touched his back with his right hand, and suddenly, a soul cannon 2 meters long and 30 centimeters wide appeared. The mouth of the cannon faced the divine green steel sword, and balls of terrifying red light came exploding out of it. With each explosion, the sixth soul ring on Xingyan's body dimmed. This was how intensely his soul power was being depleted. There was no way to change the divine green steel sword at this moment. It dove down at him at full strength, still shining with a blinding green light. In the blink of an eye, it crashed into the balls of red light. Just like Bei had said, only when a soul master used a soul tool could he maximize the strength of the soul tool. Boom. In midair, a deafening explosion rang out. The two types of light, green and red, combined in midair to form a huge dual-colored ball of light. Countless rays of light started to fly in all directions, and the protective barrier all around the stage glowed intensely. A look of triumph crept across Xingyan's mouth. No one knew the strength of this cannon better than he. This was the heaviest and most draining class 6 soul cannon. Each of its attacks was immensely powerful. Its name was the Gigant Bursting Cannon, and it rivaled the Gigant Lightning Cannon. In terms of control, the Gigant Bursting Cannon was not as powerful as the Gigant Lightning Cannon, but in terms of pure, explosive strength, it was superior. Xingyan's biggest weakness was close combat. However, it was hard for him to attack his opponents from afar, too. The Gigant Bursting Cannon was made just for him. Xingyan believed that once the cannon hit its target, even if Wu Yifan remained undefeated, he would still be severely injured. At that moment, he prepared to unleash his full strength. Underneath the arena, Ji Juiken, the sword fanatic, said suddenly, "The Heavenly Dragon Sect has lost." He did not control the sound of his voice. The many replacements for the Heavenly Dragon Sect who were in the resting zone shot. Langry looks at the Tang Sect. However, at this moment, the situation in the arena changed. An unassuming green ray of light descended from the heavens. It was emerald green, clear, and sparkling vigorously. It dropped down as gently as a feather. In the next moment, the dragon scales on Xingyan's body turned green. Just when he wanted to unleash his martial soul, the soul rings around his body split open, as if they had been cloven by a sword, and his scales flew everywhere. Xingyan was sent flying away by the terrible slash. A humongous wound stretched from his forehead all the way to his abdomen. Had the referee, the unbreakable Douluo, not intervened, Xingyan would have been disemboweled. Was he weak? Of course not. However, he was careless. With the cannon in hand, he made the mistake of underestimating his opponent. The smudge of green light was too insignificant. It was like residue from their clash. When he finally reacted, it was too late to block it. The green light landed on the ground, and Wu Yifan emerged from it. His face was pale, and the sword in his hand had been reduced to only a meter in length. Green light rippled on it like waves on water. This was the sixth soul skill of the green steel sword, shedding. Wu Yifan's most powerful killing move was to use his sixth soul skill right when he was using his fifth soul skill, divine green steel sword. From the divine green steel sword, he could extract the true form of the sword and unleash its devastating power. Even if Xingyan were careful, there was no way he could have blocked that move during their clash. The only way he could have obtained victory was to fly away as far as he could after bombarding Wu Yifan. Xingyan's estimate was not wrong. When his cannon hit the divine green steel sword, Wu Yifan was able to escape with shedding. However, he could not avoid getting hurt. If he had not had enough time to attack afterward, he would have used up even more soul power. If he had used both powerful skills and still not won, he might have lost the match. Xingyan lost this round not because of tactics, but because of his mindset. In fact, since the start of the tournament, they had underestimated the Proud Sword Sect. While they might be the second team from the small group round, they were extremely confident in their own abilities. In their eyes, their only opponent in this tournament was the Holy Ghost Church. The other sects were nothing to them. Xingyan lost because of his mentality. Xingyan collapsed onto the arena, while the unbreakable Douluo had blocked much of the sword chi. Some of it still entered his body, and he was badly injured. Blood flowed from his wounds, and a green light flashed. The Proud Sword Sect wins. The moment the protective barrier opened, a tall figure jumped onto the arena at the speed of lightning. Quickly, he arrived next to Xingyan and lifted him up. He quickly sealed his meridians, and then injected blue soul power into his body to help resist the powerful, intrusive sword chi. Wu Yifan, whose face was pale, did not dare to waste any more time. He quickly took out a milk bottle to replenish his soul power. This had not been an easy victory, and he had used all his strength. He had not expected the soul cannon. After a short time, the new youth from the Heavenly Dragon Sect carried Xingyan off the arena, before returning to the stage. This time, Wu Yifan could clearly see that this youth was a good 2 meters tall. He could almost fit inside his opponent's mountain-like body. The young man's hair was short and needle-like as well, but deep blue in hue. His shirt had no sleeves, and his muscular arms looked like they had been sculpted from stone. His entire body emitted a terrifying aura. "Are you the captain of the Proud Sword Sect?" The tall youth asked as he walked up to the center of the arena. His expression was cold and emotionless. "Yes," replied Wu Yifan. While he had won the first round, Wu Yifan was not happy. He was the most powerful member of the Proud Sword Sect. While his sect was not ordinary, his guy's fellow team members were all ranked between ranks 55 and 59. He was the only sole emperor. They had been observing the Heavenly Dragon Sect. In the past, Xingyan had occupied a dominant position on that team, and the young man before him had not appeared. However, Wu Yifan could clearly sense right now that this young man was stronger than Xingyan, even though Xingyan had been injured, and he might not be able to fight in the subsequent rounds. How much power was the Heavenly Dragon Sect hiding? Very good. The young man from the Heavenly Dragon Sect did not say anything else. He walked to the center of the arena and indicated to the judge that he would be the second competitor from the Heavenly Dragon Sect. In the resting zone, "Elder brother, why do I feel an aura similar to yours from the Heavenly Dragon Sect competitor?" "Who are you?" Al asked Bei in a low voice. Bei nodded slightly and said, "I can feel it too. I fear that his martial soul is similar to mine. Heavenly Dragon Sect, Utian Long, Proud Sword Sect, Wu Yifan, begin." With that one command by the unbreakable Douluo, the second elimination round between the Proud Sword Sect and the Heavenly Dragon Sect began. Tianlong did not fight like Wang Qi, as Xingyan had. Instead, he took big steps as he walked toward his opponent. He did not move quickly. His pace was only slightly faster than that of an ordinary person. However, Wu Yifan, who was facing him, felt as if he was staring at a mountain, which was getting bigger with each step. It was a suffocating sensation. In the previous battle, almost half of his soul power had been depleted. The attack from the soul cannon in particular had left him feeling slightly shell-shocked. Faced with this pressure, Wu Yifan did not rush to attack. His vast fighting experience helped to calm the terror in his heart. He got a grip and activated his soul power. Since his opponent was in no rush, he did not plan on rushing either. His martial soul, the green steel sword, manifested in front of him. It quickly regained its initial form. The distance between the two sides quickly shrank. Wu Tianlong lifted his right hand, and arcs of blue electricity started to spread across his body. Bluish-purple scales appeared, and his body grew as he advanced. With each step, his body would expand. When he reached the center of the arena, he was already 2.5 meters tall, and his shoulders 1.5 meters across. The terrifying but majestic scales on his arms were extremely thick, and arcs of bluish-purple electricity crackled around him. He like a human-shaped monster now, and even his eyes had turned bluish-purple. Blue lightning Tyrant Dragon. Who are you? Al asked as he turned to look at Bei Bei. Bei Bei was closely watching Wu Tianlong up on the arena stage, and replied, "That's right, this is the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon. Furthermore, this is a pure-blooded Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon. Hey! Is it different from yours, elder brother?" Bei Bei nodded and said, "While mine is also descended from the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon, it has undergone mutations. Those that are descended from ancestor Zhougang have already evolved into the Golden Holy Dragon. Much of the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon blood is lost. Hence, we don't have the true Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon martial soul. Those with the pure Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon blood should be like him, extremely explosive and destructive. How does it compare to the Golden Holy Dragon?" "Who are you?" Al asked. "We'll only know after we fight," Bei Bei replied with a smile. When he heard this, Who are you? Came to his own conclusions. If Bei Bei's assessment was as such, it only meant one thing. Wu Tianlong was almost as powerful as his elder brother. The Heavenly Dragon Sect was powerful, indeed. As Wu Tianlong stopped his advance, beads of sweat started to form on Wu Yifan's forehead. He was not a sword fanatic like Ji Juiken. In his heart, he had normal human emotions, too. If it were Ji Juiken, even if his opponent was as powerful as a titled Douluo, he would still move forward to attack. This was not because of a disparity in power, but of will. This was also why Ji Juiken could find enlightenment of his own sword intent and domain at nearly 20ish years of age. At this moment, Ji Juiken, who had been watching Wu Yifan excitedly, closed his eyes. This was because he was too into swords, and hence his understanding of swords surpassed that of normal people. From the sword intent Wu Yifan was unleashing, Juiken could tell that Yifan's will to battle could not compare to before. This swordsman no longer piqued his interest. Faced with his opponent's mountain-like body, the psychological pressure Wu Yifan could take reached its limit. He roared and leapt off the ground, fusing his sword and body into one. He charged toward Wu Tianlong. A powerful sword intent could be sensed once more, but it was still weaker than before. He was being suppressed by his opponent's aura. Wu Tianlong did not approach. Instead, he stopped and contracted the muscles on his arm. His blue dragon claws clenched, and the electricity around his body started to retract. A powerful sword light shot out from the green sword and appeared before Wu Tianlong. The electricity, which was gone only a moment ago, now started to surge out from every part of Wu Tianlong's body. Instantly, it formed a ball of lightning as it blew the sword intent apart. While Wu Yifan was suppressed, he was still the captain of the Proud Sword Sect. He did not lack fighting experience. He clearly understood that his chances of victory against this person were not high. The only chance he had was to use his explosive strength. Hence, he had no intention of conserving energy as he deployed his powerful attacks almost immediately. Green light started to expand, and his fifth soul ring started to shine. This was the powerful divine green steel sword again. The huge, green sword brimmed with a severe sword intent as he thrust it toward Wu Tianlong's chest. The huge sword, which seemed capable of cleaving the sky and earth open, helped Wu Yifan regain a bit of an advantage. Wu Tianlong stood there, unmoving. In his eyes, there was a show of mirth. He raised a pair of dragon claws and made a hugging motion before him. Instantly, a huge amount of electricity surged forth. Between his two arms, a huge ball of lightning was formed. At this point, Wu Yifan could not help but nod his head. In terms of control over thunder, Wu Tianlong surpassed even his elder brother. He indeed possessed a pure-blooded blue lightning Tyrant Dragon. When he realized that his opponent was not dodging, Wu Yifan's heart soared with delight. He chuckled coldly to himself as he thought, while the Proud Sword Sect is not good in many other aspects, we do specialize in piercing and overcoming thick armor. In a face-to-face attack, even if you can defeat me, you will pay a heavy price. The green light instantly pierced the ball of lightning. At that moment, the light in the arena dimmed. Wu Tianlong still did not move. However, the tip of the green sword had penetrated his lightning sphere. What a terrifying fighting style. If it could not be blocked, his body might be sliced in half by the divine green steel sword. At this distance, even the referee could not save him. However, just as the tip of the divine green steel sword pierced through it, the sword was unable to progress any further. Green light and lightning shone non-stop. Wu Yifan, who was behind the divine green steel sword, revealed an expression of shock. He could clearly sense that what was coming at him from the tip of his sword was not a terrifying electric power, but instead waves of attacks. The electric energy actually felt like layers of silk eating away at his divine green steel sword. The sharp tip of the sword was like soft leather in the face of this tough defense. Let's do it. Wu Yifan did not have much time to think. His soul power was being drained rapidly as he used this high-level soul skill, and there was no way he could sustain it for long. His sixth soul ring started to shine, and his body suddenly flashed. He grabbed onto the green light and once again moved to escape. Wu Yifan's body was bathed in light. At the same time, countless bluish-purple tendrils of electricity started to appear on the divine green steel sword. An explosion sounded in midair, and the sword chi scattered in all directions. In just that one moment, Wu Yifan was a ray of green light, just like in the previous round. He floated toward his opponent's back. There was only this one chance for him. Wu Tianlong appeared to not have discovered him. He continued to stand there without moving. Each of his dragon claws became charged with electricity as he slashed them through the air. Other than a string of electricity surrounding him, he appeared defenseless. A chance. Wu Yifan did not stop at all. He moved with his sword, and he had already retracted all of his energy. His last bit of soul power was concentrated on the tip of his sword as he pointed it straight at his opponent's back. The emerald green sword tip was instantly at Wu Tianlong's back. The unbreakable Douluo was hesitant. He could tell that Wu Tianlong was stronger. In this situation, should he intervene? If he intervened, Wu Tianlong would be deemed to have lost. Just as he was deliberating this, he saw a cruel look in Wu Tianlong's eyes. Oh shit. The unbreakable Douluo's heart missed a beat as he charged toward the both of them. Just as he was about to use shedding and break away from the main body of his divine green steel sword, Wu Yifan felt his body move an inch. It's a hit. Wu Yifan's heart leapt with joy. Soon, however, he discovered that something was amiss. His sword had pierced underneath Wu Tianlong's armpit. It did not actually hit him. Wu Tianlong suddenly clamped his left arm tightly to his body, securing the blade of the sword between his arm and his body. Then, with a low draconic roar, a whip-like object that looked like a dragon tail appeared from his right leg. Lightning flashed at this moment and crept, via the divine green steel sword, into Wu Yifan's body. Wu Yifan suddenly felt his body going numb. The terrifying lightning had already swallowed him whole. Under these circumstances, where could he hide? Just as the leg was about to hit Wu Yifan, the unbreakable Douluo appeared. He tapped Wu Tianlong's leg lightly with his right hand, before it made contact with Wu Yifan. With a crunching impact, Wu Yifan flew into the distance. Blood spurted out from his body in midair as he flew backward and landed hard. Wu Tianlong retracted his leg. He turned and gave Zhang Zan a deadly stare. If not for Zhang Zan's swat, he was confident of shattering Wu Yufan's internal organs. Zhang Zan glared back. Boy, what's your problem? I can't alter the flow of the competition, but I can't let you kill, either. Without a doubt, Wu Yufan would have died had he actually been hit by Wu Tianlong. Hence, Zhang Zan did not completely take away Wu Tailong's power. The power of the kick was just enough to severely injure Wu Yufan to the point where he could no longer take part anymore, but it would not be fatal. It was not easy for the unbreakable Douluo to make this decision. The anger in Wu Tianlong's eyes receded a bit. He nodded at the unbreakable Douluo and said, I've won. For the individual elimination round, second round, the Heavenly Dragon Sect wins. After the end of this duel, the overall results were more or less fixed. In terms of overall strength, there was a big disparity between the Proud Sword Sect and the Heavenly Dragon Sect. In the next few rounds, Wu Tianlong was able to use his immense power to defeat more 3 challengers consecutively. The opposing team completely lost their will to fight. In the battle for the top 8, the unbreakable Douluo did not interfere as much. Even if the other party might lose their fighting ability, he would not intervene. The only reason he intervened was to prevent death. At this moment, there was no hope left for the Proud Sword Sect. Even though they were unwilling, they still conceded defeat. The Heavenly Dragon Sect was thus able to progress to the next round and become the second team to enter the top 8. In the semi-finals, it was likely that they would challenge the team from Shrek Academy, led by Wang Qia. At this point, the matches for the morning had ended. The subsequent 2 rounds for the top 8 teams would be held in the afternoon. Over in Shrek Academy's area, Dai Huabing, Yao Jingxuan, and the rest had ugly expressions on their faces as they left. The strength of their opponents was beyond their expectations, particularly Wu Tianlong. The strength he had displayed was comparable to Wang Qia. Coupled with Xin Yan, who was also a 6-ring Soul Emperor, they were facing an uphill battle in the semi-finals. The Tang Sect also returned to the hotel. There was still some time until the afternoon rounds. It was extremely important for them to get some rest and strategize. They decided to have an early lunch. Bei Bei gathered his teammates. Everyone saw the rounds in the morning. What do you think? Bei Bei asked as he sat at the head of their table. Shu Sanqi replied quickly, the Heavenly Dragon Sect is no pushover. I think Wu Tianlong's Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon Martial Soul is more powerful than yours. Even if we went against them one-on-one, it would not be easy to win. Bei Bei nodded and said, Wu Tianlong has inherited the pure-blooded Blue Lightning Thunder Dragon bloodline. There was no deviation or evolution. It was definitely pure. 10,000 years ago, the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon was one of top 6 martial souls on the continent. This is not an easy opponent. Furthermore, the Heavenly Dragon Sect also has other powerful contenders. Their martial souls are all draconic, and hence, they will not be weak. It'll be a difficult fight for Shrek in the next round. They may not be able to defeat them with just the power of Wang Qia. Anyone else? What other thoughts do you have on your minds? Surprisingly, Nan Qiukayu, who had just joined the Tang Sect and appeared very demure, opened her mouth to speak. I think one's mindset in this competition is important, too. When Wu Yufan faced Wu Tianlong, he was not weak. However, he was under immense psychological pressure from his opponent. This shows that he had a very weak mentality. He should at least have been able to give Wu Tianlong some trouble, instead of losing so badly in the end. Bei Bei smiled and nodded. He said, Qiukayu is right. One's mentality is important too. On this point, we have to admit that Wang Qia does this better than any of us here. Honestly speaking, I've been waiting for the day when Wang Qia would go up against someone like Wu Tianlong. I wonder what kind of match that'll be. Do you know Yuao? Who are you outside and said, elder brother, brothers, and sisters? While I don't want to undermine everyone's confidence, there's something I feel that I must say. We are in trouble. When everyone heard that, they were all shocked, including Bei Bei. They had no idea what Huo Yuao was talking about. Bei Bei nodded and said, tell us, no matter what the problem is, we have to face it together. You requested this meeting. It's not too late to come up with a counter-strategy. Huo Yuao said, after the morning rounds, there are 2 judgments we can make. The Radiant City Soul Engineering Academy and the Proud Sword Sect do not contain hidden body sect members. When they heard this analysis, they instantly understood what he meant. Instantly, their faces changed. Huo Yuao continued. I carefully observed the Heavenly Dragon Sect. When Wu Tianlong went to fight, everyone on their team, regardless of whether they were on the main team or the reserves, all looked at him in admiration. This cannot be faked. Hence, we know the importance of Wu Tianlong to the Heavenly Dragon Sect. Furthermore, Wu Tianlong's Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon Martial Soul is not a body soul. This means that the most powerful contender from the Heavenly Dragon Sect has no link to the body sect. Hence, we can deduce that the body sect is not likely to be hidden there. Earlier, we analyzed a few teams that the body sect may have been hidden in. Now, we can deduce that the only possibilities are the Douluo National Academy and the Snow Demon Sect. For the Douluo National Academy, I've deduced that the possibility of them collaborating with the body sect is almost negligible. On the other hand, the Snow Demon Sect, which comes from the Heavenly Soul Empire, is much more likely to be in cahoots with the body sect. Today, I also noticed that at least 6 of their reserve members did not show much of a reaction when Wu Tianlong came up. In other words, they were not surprised at his strength. What does this mean? I'm afraid that we've gotten the short end of the stick this time. At this point, everyone knew what he meant. The room turned silent instantly. To describe their situation as the short end of the stick was an understatement. What did it mean to meet the body sect? They were powerful enough to resist Shrek Academy. They also dared to attack the illustrious Virtue Hall and inflicted severe damage on them. No one doubted the advantage of the body sect in terms of their martial souls. By coming to the Sun Moon Empire to compete, they demonstrated how confident they were. Shrek's 7 monsters had long suspected that the Holy Ghost Sect would appear in this competition. This was the plan the Sun Moon Empire had devised to take care of the body sect. Right now, they were about to get caught in it all. Even if they were able to defeat the body sect, there was another more mysterious evil soulmaster group behind the body sect, the Holy Ghost Sect. So far, deaths had followed them wherever they went. If they wanted to break out from this trap, it would be immensely difficult for the Tang Sect. Huo Yuao said in a low voice, don't be too demoralized, guys. While our opponents are strong, we aren't weak either. Elder brother can fight once again, and our Tang Sect has 3 6-ring soul emperors. 3 of us have twin martial souls. In this aspect, the body sect can't beat us. The academy can match the body sect, and we now have the title of Shrek's 7 monsters. Are we supposed to fear them? Shu Sanqi nodded, and a strong will to fight appeared in his eyes. That's right, Yuao's right. Fuck the body sect. I'll fuck them all. I'll go first for the individual elimination round. Bei Bei gestured at him to tell him to calm down. Be quiet. We can find out who the more powerful members of the body sect are beforehand, and prepare against them. Yuao, tell us what you think, and the strategy you have in mind. Huo Yuao nodded and said, the body sect is undoubtedly powerful. It is impossible to beat them one-on-one. Even so, I feel that we should adopt Shrek's strategy. As long as one of us can win 3 individual elimination rounds, we can force them into the group round. The biggest advantage the Tang Sect had was from Huo Yuao's spiritual detection. With it, while the Tang Sect did not fight very often in the group round, they had yet to face any true opponents thus far. Furthermore, as Shrek's 7 monsters had known each other for so many years, they all worked well together. Bei Bei said, then, who do you think we should send first in the individual elimination round? We're facing the body sect. It's not likely we'll score 3 victories like Wang Qia. Huo Yuao spoke up without hesitation. I'll go first. You. Bei Bei was shocked. Wang Donga, who was sitting next to him, glanced at him sharply. Huo Yuao nodded and said, there are some advantages to me going first. First, the opponent will not expect me to fight first. Second, I have a body soul too. In comparison, I understand them better than everyone else here. Third, while I'm immobile, I have many tricks up my sleeves. I'm confident of at least 1 victory. Recently, my spiritual power has improved as well. Most importantly, it won't affect everyone if I become a bit more drained during the individual elimination round. I direct a group round, and don't fight directly in it. In my current state, I can't fight at the front like everyone else. Spiritual detection will only drain a bit of my spiritual power. I can assist everyone else, provide control and render assistance from behind. The group round won't be as taxing for me. Furthermore, he softly said a few words, which made everyone smile. K2 blinked, and a sly smile crept across his face. He nudged Huo Yuao and chuckled. Little brother, aren't you afraid of the illustrious Virtue Hall coming after you? Thanks so much for watching this video. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Also leave a comment down below with suggestions on what novels to read.